Hello and welcome to our next installment of Lady Lane. I'm Stacy, your personal development coach, and with me is Michelle, our very own menopause doula. Hello, Michelle. How is it going?
Hi, Stacy. Welcome, everyone. In today's episode, we're discussing the importance of self-care during perimenopause and beyond.
That's right. In the upcoming segments, we're going to be providing practical insights to enhance your well-being. So get ready for a very productive exploration on self-care on this episode of Lady Lane. Welcome to segment one of today's episode, Lady Lane. Michelle, you often emphasize the importance of self-care during perimenopause. Could you share with our listeners and audience why this phase requires such special attention?
Oh, sure. So, perimenopause is a transformative time where hormonal shifts can impact both your physical and your emotional well-being. Prioritizing self-care during this phase helps manage symptoms like your mood swings, hot flashes, fatigue. So, yeah.
So what benefits can women expect by actively engaging in self-care during this time?
So, engaging in self care practices enhances your resilience. It can reduce your stress and support overall well being. It's about empowering women to navigate this transition with grace and vitality.
Okay. So then what activities or practices can we do to help ourselves?
So, that's a great question. Incorporating activities like mindfulness, mindful meditation, regular exercise tailored to your individual preferences, and connecting with a supportive community can contribute to empowering women during the perimenopause transition. These practices promote emotional well being, physical health, and a sense of shared understanding and strength.
Hmm. So let's talk about the risks of, if we should be neglecting ourselves, kind of like the majority of women that I know, um, that, I mean, myself included, where we're always putting everybody first and we take care of ourselves last.
Yeah, right. You and me both. So it's easy to put everyone else first. And we're
Mhm.
taught that that's how a good girl should be. Neglecting your self care can intensify your symptoms. It can lead to increased stress, disrupted sleep, and a potential impact on your mental health. It's crucial for women to recognize the risks and prioritize their well being during this transformative period.
Mm.
It's time for us to be the champions in our own story. Enough with standing on the sidelines and supporting everybody else.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so just to recap, to take care of yourself. You're worth the effort, and self care doesn't mean that you're being selfish, and it doesn't mean that you're neglecting your family or friends. Like they say, you have to put your mask on first.
Exactly. Exactly. So self care is a foreign concept for many of us. In our next segment, we're going to discuss some holistic therapies that can really help individuals feel their best and live the life they've worked so hard creating. Menopause is a time of renewal and growth. It's new beginnings, it's not an ending.
Absolutely. Okay, join us, everybody, in segment two, where we will talk about nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress, and then mindful breathing. So grab a snack, your
Yes.
favorite drink, and join us in segment two. Welcome back. In this segment, we'll explore holistic approaches to the self care that we've been talking about. So, we're going to start with nutrition. Michelle,
Mhm.
what role does nutrition play, and what are the benefits we can experience by maintaining a well balanced diet?
So nutrition is crucial during perimenopause, actually at any stage of life. It's the foundation of humanity. You don't eat, you don't live.
Mm,
So a well-balanced diet supports hormonal balance, energy levels, and your overall health. It helps manage your weight if that's what you're doing. It reduces inflammation if you're in a lot of pain, and it contributes to emotional well-being. Neglecting nutrition might lead to nutrient deficiencies, affecting both your physical and your mental
Can you
health.
list a few options for our listeners on what foods we should be incorporating into our menu to make it a healthy, well balanced, like nutrition?
Sure. So you want to start with some leafy greens, kale and spinach. They're both rich in vitamins and they support your bone health. Fatty fish, salmon, mackerel, high in omega 3s. I
Mhm.
don't really like mackerel, but I like salmon. Soy products like tofu and edamame.
Mhm.
Uh, Flax seeds, they have lots of omega 3s, and they can potentially help with hot flashes and supporting heart health.
Hmm.
Nuts and seeds like almonds, chia seeds, those are good sources of healthy fats and fiber. Whole grains, quinoa, brown rice, they provide complex carbohydrates and fiber. Fruits and berries, rich in
Mm.
vitamins, antioxidants, and fiber. Oh no, dairy and fortified plant-based alternatives. So like your calcium, vitamin D. So that would be like your soy milk, your almond milk, that lean protein like poultry and beans. Those are good for your muscle health and supporting your metabolism, especially as hormones change, they may affect your muscle mass.
Hmm.
Probiotic rich foods like yogurt, that's good for your gut. And yeah, so that's everything for your nutrition.
Now it's a great list to keep in mind, especially when you're cruising those grocery store aisles and kind of inundated
Yeah,
with all
yeah.
those different choices.
Shop
How
on the outside of your food stores. So, I don't know how that is in Switzerland. In the United States, our food stores are set up so that the healthier foods are all around the edges, and then you have your aisles with your processed food. So you always want to try to do the most of your shopping around the edges of the store.
All right, that's interesting.
Mhm. Yeah.
There are a couple things that I did not hear you mention. Um, one being alcohol, two, sugar, and then you did just mention, but not in the context of good nutrition, the processed foods. So,
Mhm.
give us your thoughts on those three things.
So I'm not going to tell you you can't have anything. Have what you want in moderation. So if you're trying to stop your hot flashes, then maybe instead of drinking an entire bottle of red wine, drink a glass of red wine.
Uh,
That might help. Like me, I get my hot flashes are usually set off by sugar.
hmm,
So if I were dealing with them and they were being very bothersome, if I pulled back on my sugar or my caffeine, they usually kind of lighten up. So I'm just as guilty as everybody else, not really following
right.
the recommendation, but you got to do what you got to do. So if you want a piece of chocolate, you can eat it. If you want a glass of wine, you can have it, all in moderation. But if it's causing symptoms that are bothersome to you, then those are the things that you want to start uh, pulling back on. And processed food, I don't know again about Switzerland, but in the United States, the processed food is chemicals and poison. So you should try to limit those as much as possible or have lightly processed food.
Hmm. Yeah, the one thing that I
Mhm.
noticed, I'm not like a big drinker, but of course over the holidays, it was a little bit more social, a little bit more alcohol involved, and I noticed I was sleeping terrible the nights that I
Mm,
had a few glasses of wine. My night sweats were horrible those nights, and it wasn't like oh, like this slight difference. It was dramatic to the point where I was
mm,
like, I'm just not gonna do that because it was so miserable, so miserable. So anyway, like you said, in
yeah,
moderation.
yeah,
And, you know,
yeah.
for me, I think maybe like keeping a diary or something might help if you notice that you're having symptoms when you eat something certain. Anyway. Okay, so that's
Right. Well,
all really.
I do that with my clients. We do a menopause toolkit, which is is kind of like a journaling system.
Hmm.
And what I do with them is we list all the symptoms and then we list everything that they did that day. So if they can keep a diary of the symptoms plus what they did, we can start to see patterns.
Nice.
So if we see, okay, we're not sleeping very well at night, let's see what you did all day long that could contribute to that.
Right.
You know, sometimes it is they went to a party and had a couple of drinks, or they ate a lot of sugar, or they started their day out with a pot of coffee. You know, there's definitely patterns that we can find that we can start to alter the lifestyle change so that you can have a more comfortable day.
That's really cool. That's such a great
Mhm.
exercise to go through. Okay, so
Yeah.
with that in
Mhm.
mind, I think you just mentioned about movement and exercise. So, in this context of self-care, what benefits does regular physical activity offer somebody going through this menopause phase or perimenopause?
Right. So this is a good one. This is regular exercise, like nutrition, is key at any stage, but even more so during the menopause transition because it can help you manage your weight, improve your mood, and enhance your sleep quality. It also is beneficial for your bone and cardiovascular health.
Hmm. And then again, on the contrary, someone who is sitting around all the time, not as active, that kind of lifestyle is going to contribute to weight gain and mood swings, and of course, increased risks of certain health issues. I mean, I heard that
Mhm.
sitting is the new smoking because everybody, works all day long and rarely gets up. So,
Right, right.
what are some exercises that we can incorporate into our daily or weekly routines that will help us with the self care?
So cardiovascular exercises are great. Like walking, jogging, cycling, swimming. Those are great for your heart health. It could manage your weight again if that's what you're going for, and it
Mhm.
can boost your mood. I do a lot of cardiovascular exercises during the week. I try to swim 4 days a week. And I've noticed that I'm sleeping better, my mood is better, my self-esteem is better. So I have a better outlook on things.
Mhm.
So I definitely contributed to the cardio. Strength training, which could include resistance training, weight and body weight exercises. This is going to maintain your muscle mass, support your bone density, enhance your metabolism. I also do this 3 or 4 times a week, and I have a muscle. I don't know if you can see it, but I've been working very hard on my muscle, and that also helps with your mood and everything else that's going on. Yoga promotes your flexibility and your balance, which is very important. One of the one of the things I always try to work on with my clients is very simple exercise that I encourage them to do a couple of times a week is to sit down on the floor and get up.
Mm,
So people don't think about that, but when you get older and your bones are not as strong as they were and your muscles are not as strong as they were, if you fell down, can you get back up? Can you get to help? Or are you going to be stuck on the floor until somebody finds you?
right.
And for many people, they live by themselves when they're older. They don't have a spouse anymore. Um, so can you get to a phone? Can you get up? Can help yourself? So it's very important for to do that.
Yeah, that
Pilates, yeah. So Pilates is good for that too. I don't like Pilates. I think it's torture, but some people really like it. I have not ever found a Pilates class enjoyable, but
oh,
that's them, not me. Tai Chi is great for your balance, for your balancing not only physical but mental. It
mhm.
quiets the mind. High intensity interval training, HIIT or HIT. Uh, yeah, this is another one I don't do at the gym. I watch the classes; they look fantastic, but I would die. I would definitely not make it through that class. Anything with gravity, not great. So dancing is great, flexibility exercises are great, mindful walking. Jason and I mindful walk all the time. We do races. We just finished doing a half marathon, which was a lot of fun.
Mhm.
So that's always good, and that's great to do if you want something with your spouse or your partner. You know,
Yeah.
if you're trying to connect, this is a time when sometimes those relationship connections kind of drift apart. This that's a, Exercising with your partner or your spouse is a great way to stay connected.
Yeah, that's a
Mhm.
great
Yeah.
suggestion.
Yep.
Okay, well, with that in mind, because those were all great suggestions, and I'm with you on the HIIT and Pilates. Forget it. I did HIIT for about I think maybe about a year. I was pretty good about doing going to this one place
Oh
that
wow.
really great. And I saw results, but it stressed me out. And I can now look back and say because it was this gym put online classes when COVID hit. I was doing them at home. And one day I just was like, screw this, I'm done. Like I was so mad. Like I got really upset. I just had this total nervous breakdown kind of thing. And now I can be like, I did that to myself. Like my perimenopause was ratcheting up, ratcheting up, ratcheting up. And I was putting my body under, it is stressful. It is so
Yeah, it is.
stressful. And so that's when
Mhm.
I was like, I'm done. And that's when I went back to yoga because I needed something that was soothing for me
Calming.
instead of putting
Mhm.
myself through this like hardcore endurance. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But with whatever you choose to do or whatever you like the most, it's always important to consult your healthcare professional or your fitness expert, your doctor, whoever you go for your medical care, before you
Mhm.
start something new, or even like as a routine checkup to check on your where you are to make sure that everything's good and and what you're
Absolutely.
doing is safe. So
Yeah, yeah.
you always want to throw that out there. Okay.
Yeah, like when Jason and I were training to do the marathon, I went to the cardiologist and I had them do a stress test. My mom had a heart attack when she was in her early 50s. My grandfather died when he from a heart attack when he was 50. So I just wanted to make sure that my heart wasn't going to explode. Although
Yeah.
I have to tell you, during the stress test, my heart beat harder than it did during then doing the marathon. So that stress test is no joke. Prepare yourself for it. Wear
Yeah.
comfortable shoes.
And a good night's sleep, right? Okay.
If
Oh,
you
which
can,
is
yeah.
what's coming up next.
Ah,
So let's move into talking about prioritizing a good sleep routine and its impact that it
right,
has on us, and of course the risks of, neglecting it.
right, right. So quality sleep is essential for your hormonal balance and your overall well-being. It aids in managing your stress and supporting your cognitive function. Poor sleep, on the other hand, can exacerbate hormonal imbalances. It increases your stress levels and it contributes to your mood imbalances.
Oh my gosh, you lived through
Disturb.
two teenage boys. I I have my two teenagers. So we know, and I would say most women who have children know what it's like,
Mm-hmm.
the sleep or lack of sleep and the impact it
Yeah.
has on personality. Oh, what monsters,
Oh
right?
God, yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
you can definitely
but
tell
you
when a
can,
teenager has not slept. Yeah.
right. And you can see it in them. So you can imagine what you must be like when you're sleep deprived as well. So, and
Exactly.
that can be contributed by I always have a hard time getting to sleep. Don't remember a time when I haven't been tossing and turning to get to sleep. So, that's a challenge some people have. Other people have a challenge of staying asleep throughout the night or,
Hmm.
getting back to sleep once they're up. So,
Yeah.
there's all these different challenges that come into play regularly, but then you throw in perimenopause on top of it. And oh my God, like what a mess.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Absolutely.
as the menopause doula, what do you recommend that we can do that can help us kind of establish a healthier sleep routine to like kind of alleviate some of those issues?
Yeah, well, establishing the routine is key. So you want to create a consistent sleep schedule.
Mm,
So for me, I put on a show. I've been watching. I go back and forth between Outlander and Young Sheldon. So if I am, if I'm really stressed, Young Sheldon, because that's just mindless and it's a great little show. And if I am still kind of like focusing, but I want to fall asleep quickly, I'll put on Outlander because I can close my eyes and watch it in my head. And as
mm,
soon as I start doing that, I'll be asleep in a couple of minutes.
mm,
If I wake up in the middle of the night, I have my earbuds next to my bed and I'll put a book on, usually Outlander or something that I've read over and over again so that I know what the characters are. I know what they're doing. There's no surprises, so I don't really have to pay attention. Again, can watch it in my head and then fall back to sleep.
mm,
Sorry. And so establishing a routine is the foundation. Try to keep your electronics away. I know that on days where I am having a very difficult time sleeping, I immediately go to the electronics, which is the worst thing you can do because it's just
mhm.
going to stimulate your brain and it's going to keep you up.
Right.
So yeah, creating that bedtime routine is key. Limiting your screen time is key. Managing your stress. So, practice stress reducing techniques like deep breathing, meditation, progressive
Mm,
muscle relaxation, which is when you tense all the different parts of your body and then you go up and down as you're doing that. Um, did I explain that right?
mhm.
So, I'll explain it again just for people who are like, what the hell did she just say? Um, so, what that is what you do is you would be laying and relaxing, and then you would take one body part and tense it up. And then tense as much as you can until you can't anymore, and then relax it. And then go to the other body part and then tense, and then relax it. You can visualize from your head to your feet and then from your feet to your head. And usually by then that will relax your body enough, and then you might be able to fall back to sleep. So that's a great one too,
Mhm.
if that works for you. Optimize your sleep environment. I sleep with all my windows wide open. In New York right now, it's about 20 degrees. It's fantastic. My husband, on the other hand, does not like it very much, but he's not going through menopause. I am. So the windows are open. So that's a good one too. Watch your nutrition. Don't have caffeine close to bed, sugar, heavy meals. If you know that that is going to contribute to a hard night's sleep. And
Mm,
again, journaling can help with that. If you see that, okay, we went out to dinner, we ate way too much, drank way too much, and then I didn't sleep for 2 days. That's why.
right.
It's not rocket science. And then stay active during the day. Do a half an hour. The recommendation is 150 minutes a week of exercise to maintain health. So, that's not a lot for every day. That's
Mm,
only, a few minutes out of every day. If you can try to do that, start with little tiny steps and then build on that, that might help as well. Uh, what else? The clock watching. Everybody is guilty of this. You wake up, the clock, it says 3 o'clock. You're like, oh shit, I only have like 5 hours left to sleep. If I fall asleep right this second, which nobody ever falls asleep right that second.
right.
And then an hour goes by. Like hours go by really fast in the middle of the night, don't they?
Yeah,
Like they
they
just
do.
is like, oh my God. Like how the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. But during the day when you're working, you're like, shit, this day's never gonna end. I don't know what
Yeah.
happens in the middle of the night. But yeah, so going to sleep really should help if you could get to sleep. It's a double-edged sword. You need the sleep to feel better, but it's hard to get to sleep to
That's
get you to
right.
feel better. So
Yep.
it takes some work.
Yes. So, yeah,
Yeah.
sleep. Oh, I know that it's been helpful for my husband with his sleeping that he likes to occasionally use melatonin to help him kind of
Mm,
get into that
Mhm.
regulate
Right.
his circadian rhythm kind of thing. So that's something that sometimes we use here. So, but I know there's a lot of other things that you can do, but um,
Yeah,
I
there's lots of
think
supplements that you can use.
yeah. But I think
Mhm,
and you talked about this just a couple seconds ago about stress and managing
mhm,
your stress to help with the sleep. So, what are some stress reduction techniques and how it relates to cortisol? Because, like
mhm.
your increased stress, your cortisol goes up,
Yep.
and that can screw with a whole bunch of stuff. So, can you talk about how managing stress in a positive way can be influential for women going through perimenopause? And what are the risks when that stress level goes unchecked?
Yeah. So again, it's all the same. Regular exercise, adequate sleep, mindfulness and relaxation, balanced nutrition, social support, getting out there and being social. I know for myself, I like being an introvert. However, I do find that on days where I am very overly stressed or I'm depressed, I do like to go out and be social, at least for a little while, talk to somebody, go to a class or, call up a friend. So social support is very important. Limit your stimulants, coffee, caffeine, even stimulants being in the car driving around. That's a stimulant
Mm,
too. There are some that you can't avoid. Like you can't avoid the traffic, you can't avoid, the noise around you all the time, but you can try to limit those. Herbal supplements, like what we were talking about before with the melatonin. There's lots of different ones. You have to talk to your doctor to see what works for you, but HRT, MHT, supplements, the melatonin is a supplement. So yeah, those are good. And then set realistic goals. Like we always say, start small and then build on that. You're
mhm.
not going to go from zero to marathon in a day.
Right,
You may not go from not sleeping at all to sleeping 8 hours, but maybe we can get you an hour. Maybe
right,
we can get, 20 minutes, like small steps. And then you build on those small steps.
right.
And that way, that will help and it'll keep you motivated to keep going.
Yes.
And
And that's important to
so,
remember because, we're so like, you got to achieve, you got to, push, push, push to, success and
mhm,
reach your goals and all that stuff. And we do have to take
right,
that step back to go, okay, I can only do this like in such big steps, like there are steps involved into a process. So, like you said,
right,
it's
right.
not 0 to 60. Okay. And
Exactly.
lastly, that on our list of things to talk about is the mindful breathing, which
Mm,
really you and I know is completely underestimated. Um,
mhm.
so how can mindful breathing practices how can that be of benefit to women when they incorporate that into their like self-care or even daily routine? And again, on the flip side of it, what can happen if this really isn't like, taken advantage of?
Hmm. Yeah. Well, the mindful breathing promotes relaxation, reduces your stress. It can enhance your mental clarity. Neglecting mindful breathing can lead to heightened stress, increased anxiety, and difficulties in managing any kind of symptom. It makes everything worse. So, you want to try one?
Sure.
Want to walk
Okay.
through? Okay. So, you ready?
Yep.
We'll go through one. All
Okay.
right. So, diaphragmatic breathing. Now, for those of you who don't know, you only breathe into your lungs. If you didn't, um, if your the air's going somewhere else, something's wrong. So you need to go to the doctor and get that fixed. Diaphragmatic breathing is when we refer to a deep breath. So there's two different kinds of breaths. There's the deep breath, the diaphragmatic breath, and then there's the catch breath. So a catch breath is one of these. So if you're exercising or you're running or you're yelling at your kids or you're doing something, you're going to be catch breathing, right?
Hmm.
But if you're relaxing, you're sleeping, you're just sitting there watching TV, you do more of a diaphragmatic breath, which is when your diaphragm Your lungs are here, okay? And your lungs sit on top of your diaphragm, and your diaphragm sits on top of your stomach. And when you take a diaphragmatic breath, you're going to fill up your lungs with air. It's going to cause your lungs to get heavier and they're going to drop. They're going to drop onto your diaphragm. When they drop onto your diaphragm is then going to drop onto your stomach. But because there's nowhere for your stomach to go, it's going to go out. So I
Mm,
always tell this to my vocal students is that singing is not pretty. So your stomach should be going out and in if you're doing it correctly, and your shoulders should be down. So that's the kind of breath that you want to work on right now. It's the diaphragmatic breathing. If you have a hard time visualizing how to do that, lay down on the floor, put your hands on your stomach, and visualize your hands going up and down, and so that you can turn it from a shallow breath to a deep breath.
mm,
And then you want to do that a couple of times. You want to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, and do that a few times. Now, I also tell my students all the time that you don't want to recycle your air a lot. And if you are recycling it too much, you're going to get dizzy. So if you get dizzy, you need to rebalance, put your head between your knees. If you're standing, be very careful and hang yourself over. But try not to get yourself dizzy.
mm.
uh, all right, so let's try this. So you're going
Oh,
to put your hands on your stomach so that it's coming in and out, and you're going to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. You can close your eyes so that you can concentrate. And you're going to go in through your nose. You're going to breathe. Hold on a second. I have the directions here, but I'm reading them. All right. So we're going to close your eyes, hands on your stomach. You're going to breathe in through your nose, and your stomach should come out. Then you're going to breathe out through your mouth, and your stomach should go back in. Out, in. Okay. So one more time. Out, breathe in, and breathe out. Go back in. Okay. So if you do that a couple of times while you're really stressed out, that will help calm your nervous system down. And really, you want to, when you get nervous, your cortisol floods your system. It
mhm,
keeps you protected, so that your body, this is very technical, but your organs and everything start to slow down. If you're in fight or flight, everything will slow down so that you can survive. So
mm.
when your body is being flooded with cortisol, you need to slow that down so that you can burn off the cortisol, you can get yourself back to a neutral state.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other one is a 4-7-8 breathing pattern. And this one is you're actually going to count. You're going to count the breath in on 4, hold on 7, out on 8. And then this will also help rebalance yourself so that you're concentrating. When you're counting and doing this, you're concentrating.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to breathe in on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to hold it on 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe it out on 8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's quick. You don't want to hold that breath. You just want to breathe in, hold it, and breathe out. Okay. And again, don't do it too many times if you're prone to getting dizzy. And if you do get dizzy, put your head between your knees to rebalance yourself.
That's awesome. And though I'm two great ways, and I mean, they're so easy. You can do them anywhere in your car before you're
Yeah,
going into a
anywhere.
meeting. I mean,
Yep.
like you can do them anywhere. That's what makes these so great and
Absolutely.
easy. So,
Yeah.
well, thanks for guiding us through those. Okay, so that is a wrap on segment 2 of self-care. So join us for
Mhm.
segment 3 coming up when we recap and wrap up. So stay tuned. Welcome back, Michelle. It has been an insightful journey discussing self-care during menopause with you. So let's go ahead and recap the key takeaways for our lovely audience.
Sure. Today, we emphasize the importance of self care during perimenopause. We discuss benefits of holistic therapies, including
Mhm,
nutrition, movement, sleep, stress reduction, and mindful breathing.
mhm.
Practical tips were shared, such as prioritizing nutrient dense foods, establishing good sleep hygiene, incorporating a mix of exercises,
Mhm.
managing stress, and practicing mindful breathing.
Yes. That is a lot to cover, and it's crucial for our listeners to recognize that investing in self-care can truly make a significant difference during this transformative phase of life. And really, it's really all about empowering yourself with different tools and different practices that support that effort of taking care of your own well-being.
Exactly. Each woman's journey is unique, and incorporating these self care practices can contribute to a healthier, more balanced perimenopausal experience.
It's you nailed it. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing your expertise. And to our listeners, we hope that what we talked about has provided some valuable insights and some actionable steps for your own self-care journey, especially during the perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause phases.
Hmm. That's it. So join us next time when we discuss something else. What the hell are we discussing next time?
It's
We
a
don't have it written
surprise.
down. It's a surprise.
It's a
Oh, I
surprise.
love surprises. Woo! All right. So join us next time as we discuss a surprise. And yeah. So until next time, ladies, keep shining. This is Lady Lane. Bye.
Bye.
And such as blah, practical practical tips were shared. We have a
Practical
lot for the
tips,
blooper reel.
practical tips, practical tips.
All right. Here we go.
Got
Did you just say son of a biscuit? Did you just say son of a biscuit?
it. I did.
Son of a
I
biscuit.
did. Yeah. My other one that I
Feelings
come
run,
out with every now and
feelings
again
running
is for
off
the
on
love of Barbara Streisand.
your lungs. If you're not breathing into your lungs, something has gone terribly wrong and you need to get that checked.
Mhm.
I'm having another hot flash.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.